Hey everyone, I'm Crystal from DP Selezioni, and today I'm going to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Luigi Maffini. Now, I'm often asked, Crystal, what are the or who are the hidden gems that I should be on the lookout for, that I should be tasting, that I should be reading about, or who are the rising stars in the different regions of Italy that I should be paying more attention to? I love this question because this is ultimately what I do. DP Selezioni, we represent a portfolio of producers that are just that, rising stars and hidden gems. So one of my favorite I like to talk about is Luigi Maffini. Now, Luigi Maffini is located in the southern region of Campania. So let me get my map. It's not exactly to scale, but it'll do the job. So Campania, so here we have the boot of Italy, and we're kind of in this lower shin, top of the foot portion of the area. So a lot of it's coastal and slightly inland. And specifically, we're going to be talking about Cilento, which is kind of further down towards the southern area, which in my opinion is one of the most beautiful and relatively undiscovered parts of Campania. Don't worry, I'll show you a real map. So here we are. This is the region itself, Campania, which is that area, that kind of southern area on the boot that I just showed you. You might have heard of an area called Naples, very famous for their food and history. It's in the blue here. Further south, just south of that, you have the Amalfi Coast, which is one of the most beautiful areas of Italy, in my opinion. And then further east-northeast, you have the province of Avellino, where you'll find Taurasi, Avellino, Tufo, which are very famous areas for making wine. And then further north in Benevento, you have Mount Taborno, another area that's quite famous for their wines. Now, Cilento is this sort of lonely area down south. It's this kind of orangish color that hugs the southern coast of Campania. That's the area that we're going to be talking about today. And specifically, I'm going to go in, zoom in here one more time. This is Cilento. And where you see the number 2, that is where Luigi Maffini is located. So at the northern coast, just inland from the coast, and just south of an area called Paestum, which are very famous Greek ruins. There's a lot of history in this area. Winemaking, we're talking about 2,000 plus years. However, it would be considered one of the new areas of Campania, given that it was given its designation in the late 1980s. Anyways, speeding up. So Luigi Maffini really took off in the mid-1990s. He and his wife started this project. They met at winemaking school, fell in love, started their own winery, and he's really all about sustainability, organic farming, and really how to best express the grapes from his region, the wines from his region. And how do I explain the personality of Luigi Maffini? So he is very strong character. He is a perfectionist in every single way. And when I say perfectionist, I mean anything from the way he trains his vines. Not all are trained the same, or some not at all. And going into his cellar, he's meticulous about all the tiles being exactly lined up on the floor, the location of the window, the color of the lampshade, the where the chair is, where the tanks are. Everything has to be aesthetically perfect. And then, of course, all the details that come into winemaking, grape growing, everything that goes in the bottle, the labels, has to be perfect. So I'm going to go point out the labels here. So you'll notice it's a lovely map. So this is actually a map of the area where he's from, specifically in Cilento. It's called Castel dell'Abate. And this map was actually from the Spanish exploration period. He found it randomly and owns the original map and decided to make that his label. So I'll talk about this wine first. You can see the name is Kratos, which is Greek, so a little nod to the history of the region. Luigi focuses on 2 grapes, nice and easy. Fiano for the white and Aglianico for the red. So Fiano is a grape that you'll find grown in other areas, other regions of Italy, but it's most famous in Avellino, Fiano di Avellino, which is in that kind of northeastern area of Campania that I pointed out in the map earlier. And Fiano is one of those grapes that just has this beautiful minerality, bright acidity, and in the right conditions, treated the right way, it can be anywhere from just beautiful, crisp, and tart, and just really lively, to slightly richer, yet just slightly more tropical in its characteristics, but still has this lovely mineral lift. And that's the style that this area of Cilento takes on, given that in this area there's more abundant sunshine, there's varied elevations, there's that proximity to the Tyrrhenian Sea. So the climate here is quite different and unique. And really what you get in the end is a beautiful white wine bursting with anything from like apples, guavas. You have citrus. You have like, I wouldn't say in the tropical fruit. I'm quite careful because this is by no means a sweet wine or a heavy wine. They're weighty, and when I say weighty, I don't mean heavy and flabby. I mean they have structure, they have complexity, and they have distinct character. So that's what I would say about these wines. They're a bit of a fireworks in your mouth, in the best way possible. So kratos means strength, and this really has a double meaning. I think to a certain extent it's a little nod to Luigi because he's one of the strongest personality-wise, but just he's a real go-getter. He's incredibly passionate, incredibly hardworking, stubborn, but in the best ways because he wants to make wines perfectly in a certain place, a certain way, and he's always trying to take things to the next level and push the envelope. So I think kratos describes his super strengths, but at the same time, it's the strength of Fiano in different areas, being able to take on different climates and still create beauty. And so I think this is nothing but beautiful. And the next one he makes of the white side, 100% Fiano as well, is Pietra Incatenata. Say that 10 times fast. I dare you. So I'll break it down. Pietra means stone. Incatenata means change. So it's stones chained together. You might think that's a funny name. Well, if you go visit him, or I should say when you go visit him, he'll take you into the vineyards. And there's one in particular, you'll see this sort of cliff, rocky hillside. And it actually looks like stones, giant stones that are chained together. And that's one of the vineyards where he sources some of his best Fiano grapes. So hence the name Pietra Incatenata. And this is just a slightly more serious Fiano. So turning the volume up a little bit more here, it's a little bit louder. Again, it's not heavy. It's just additional levels of complexity, slightly richer. So the mouthfeel is a little bit more luxurious. And aging, you can definitely age this wine. You can age both of them. But it's just a slightly different take on the Fiano, and this is only made in specific vintages that were spectacular, and it's released a year later than the Kratos. And next, the Kleos. He makes two reds, Kleos, and another one called Cilento. I drank the Cilento, so sorry about that. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but I'm going to focus on the Kleos. So Kleos, like Kratos, these are both Greek names. So these are really his calling cards or his business cards, so to speak. These are his classic wines. So classic Fiano, classic Aglianico. Aglianico is the signature grape of the region, red grape. It's also grown in other regions, but it's most famous in this area. And one thing I love about Aglianico is it really takes on the authenticity and character of where it's grown. So the Aglianico further north in Taurasi tastes quite different than the Aglianico that you'll taste here, even if whether or not it's the exact same clone. It's really the terroir, the soil, the climate that really give the biggest differentiation in the styles. But I'm going to talk specifically about Cilento and Maffini's. One thing I love about this is you open it and it's so beautiful. The aromas, the tannins are soft, the fruit character, there's this almost like smoky tobacco. There's the minerality, which just lifts the wine. So even though you have warmer climate here, it doesn't taste like a heavier red necessarily. It's just very soft. It's extremely elegant. And that goes back to the detail and meticulousness that Luigi takes on in order to bottle each of these wines. And this is a wine that you can drink now. It's delicious now. You can wait 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's the plateau effect, what I like to call. And the plateau effect is you can drink it now. You can drink it 5 years, you can drink it 10, you can drink it at different stages. It just really depends on what you like, where other wines, you have to wait 5 years or 10 years or longer before you can even think about opening it. So these are sort of at any time, now or later. And I've had the privilege of tasting vintages going back, 15 years, and it's fascinating to see the evolution, but the beauty doesn't change. The DNA is all there. The beauty is there in a good vintage or in a poor vintage. It's really spectacular. And the Cilento is one that it's a bigger version of the Kleos, so I'd say the big brother version. And Cilento is a name of a specific area. And very small production, but that's one that, could probably age even longer. But it's just a bigger, bolder, richer version, but still has the same elegance and beauty that you'll find in all the wines. But one thing I have to point out is the value here, because we can all talk about really great wines that are really expensive. But I will say these are you get really great special occasion or Monday night wines at a fantastic price point. So the Kratos and Kleos hit around 20, so a little below or above $20, depending what state you're in. If you're in Europe, maybe probably closer to 15, 16. The Pietra and Catinata and Cilento, we're looking at 30 plus. But still, for these wines, if you tasted these blind, I could easily tell you they would double the price, and I'm sure you'd believe me. So that's the good news. And I'm happy to put you in touch with an importer or a retailer or merchant that can help get you these into your home, because they are just fantastic, whether you want to put them in your cellar plan or whether they're in your drinking stash or your next quarantine virtual tasting. These will not disappoint. So I'm going to leave you there, and I will see you next week. In the meantime, happy drinking. Bye-bye.